So we're going to talk about New York. New York, like I said in the previous video, was like a feudal kingdom. In 1689, many of the grievances of the poor were mixed up in the farmers' revolt of Jacob Leisler and his group. Leisler was hanged, and the parceling out of huge estates continued. Under Governor Benjamin Fletcher, 3/4 of the land in New York was granted to 30 people. He gave a friend 500,000 acres for a token annual payment of 30 shillings. Under Lord Cornbury in the 1700s, one grant to a group of speculators was for 2 million acres. Fam, this is crazy, because chances are the people who got those acres and those pieces of land back in the day are the rich people of today. What do you mean they gave you 2 million acres that was supposed to be split up between a group of people? What do you mean you gave your friend 500,000 acres? What are you talking about? Meanwhile, the people of New York that were not rich were living in poverty. In 1700, New York City church wardens had asked for funds from the Common Council because the cries of the poor and impotent for want of relief are extremely grievous. So essentially what they started doing in New York was that they started building poor houses where people who were not able to work and stuff were able to live. Everywhere the poor were struggling to stay alive, simply to keep from freezing in the cold weather. All the cities built poor houses in the 1730s, not just for old people, widows, crippled, and orphans, but for the unemployed, war veterans, new immigrants. The colonies grew fast in the 1700s. English settlers were joined by Scotch, Irish, and German immigrants. Black slaves were pouring in. They were 8% of the population in 1690, 21% in 1770. The population of the colonies was 250,000 in 1700, 1.6 million by 1760. Listen to this. Agriculture was growing. Small manufacturing was developing. Shipping and trading were expanding. The big cities, Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Charleston, were doubling and tripling in size. But guess where that money went? Through all that growth, the upper class was getting most of the benefits and monopolized political power. A historian who studied Boston tax lists of 1687 and 1771 found that in 1687, there were, out of a population of 6,000, about 1,000 property owners, and that the top 5%, 1% of the population consisted of 50 rich individuals who had 25% of the wealth. It's the same shit we're seeing today. It's baked into the fabric of what it means to be in America. This is how it's always been. It has been this way for a reason, and they want it to continue that way. And that is the part that's blowing my mind, because people were fighting against it. People were really, really trying. But the more they tried, the more these rich people tried to oppress them. But there are more of us than there are of them.